When Bart presents his book report at school on Treasure Island, it is clear to everyone he has neglected to read the book, instead commenting on the cover. Mrs. Krabappel tests Bart by asking him to name the main pirate in the book, which he cannot do. She warns him that his grades have gotten steadily worse since the beginning of the term, and that there will be an exam on colonial America the following day. Bart, however, does not pay attention to a word she says. He tries to study, but he repeatedly procrastinates until late at night, whereupon he falls asleep over his textbooks. When he wakes up in the next morning, he is worried he will flunk. He goes to Sherry and Terry for help while writing to school, and they give him false answers in hopes that he will fail the test. Martin warns Bart of the faulty information he has received. So right before the test, Bart collapses. He goes to see the nurse, who diagnoses Bart with amoria phlebitis, loss of vision, and sends him home. At home, Bart procrastinates again and calls Milhouse to copy his answers on the test. When he takes a test, Mrs. Krabappel tells him that he did worse than Milhouse. Homer and Marge have an interview with Mrs. Krabappel and the school counselor, Dr. J. Lauren Pryor, who sees Bart as a slacker and suggests that Bart will be held back a grade if he doesn't shape up. Bart, however, is strongly against this idea and proclaims he could pass 4th grade. Homer replies that he may have to repeat the 4th grade as warned. With Bart worried he might be held back, he looks to Martin for help. He helps Bart study, and Bart reciprocates by showing him how to be more popular, which encourages Martin to take on some of Bart's bad attitudes. Bart reminds the new Martin about the test the following day, but he ignores it, and Bart must study on his own. He prays to God that something will happen to make him miss school the next day so he can have more time to study. And at night it snows, and schools were closed the next morning. Bart immediately rushes downstairs to go outside and play in the snow. After Lisa reminds him of his wish, he plans to study for the rest of the day while everyone is outside having fun. However, even Bart's studying is a distraction, as he tries to picture himself as a member of the First Continental Congress on July 4th, 1776, witnessing the signing of the Declaration of Independence. He then pictures it somehow snowing in July, which the signers then go out and have fun in the snow. Bart forces himself to pay attention by slapping himself in the face repeatedly. The next day, as soon as he finishes the test, he asks Mrs. Krabappel to grade it immediately. She gives it back to him and declares that his score is 59, another F. Devastated at this failure after having made a bigger effort, Bart breaks down in tears. Krabappel is surprised, having always assumed he was used to failing in class. He tells Krabappel that he really did try this time, and he still failed. As she tries consoling him, Bart laments that now he understands how George Washington felt when he surrendered Fort Necessity to the French in 1754. The stunned Mrs. Krabappel impressed Bart's knowledge to such difficult and obscure historical reference, giving him an extra point for demonstrating applied knowledge, pushing his grade up to a 60, a D-, the lowest passing grade. Bart becomes so joyful about passing that he gives his teacher a kiss on the cheek and runs throughout Springfield shouting about passing. He realizes that he kissed his teacher and spits in disgust. At home, Homer proudly hangs the test on the fridge, and Bart states, "Part of this D- belongs to God."